Okay, hello everyone. So I am actually in my living room today, which I never film in because typically my downstairs neighbor is loud and you can typically hear them in here. I think if you hear anything in the background, sorry. Live in an apartment building. It's one of those things. Anyway, I wanted to make a video about this and first show you guys what I have available. So there was better pictures on my reborns.com account because I don't know why, but the video quality on this phone always changes the coloring and it makes everything look kind of washed out. And it's been doing that with the pictures recently, and I'm not a fan of that. So I might revert back to taking some pictures with my phone and some with my actual camera. So he is available. This is Jalen. He's 6 months size. As you can see, he's a bigger baby, and yeah, he's available. I think he's beautiful. Um, he's very fun to paint, and he is ready to go, ready to ship as soon as you buy him. Like I said, better pictures on my nursery page. And then I also just finished a budget baby who I have not had the chance to post yet because I wanted to make a video before I got too tired. But this is going to be a budget baby, like I said. So this is Victor, and there's literally nothing wrong with him. He's just a budget baby. He's bald to keep down the cost, and yeah, I think he came out really well, especially for a budget baby. I think he's a great quality budget baby. If you see this is because I still haven't weighted his head yet. I'm waiting for the glue to completely dry before I weight his head. But he will be ready to ship as soon as tomorrow. Hopefully he'll sell quickly. Because you don't see a lot of budget babies in this skin tone that are done well. And like I said, he'll have better pictures on his actual listing. And if you guys want to be notified when I do list dolls for sale, you can actually follow people on reborns.com. And like my nursery has always been the same on there as my YouTube channel and my Instagram, which is Uni Reborn Dad. And the uni is short for university. Unlike some people think it's unicorn. No, I'm not a very unicorny type person if you haven't noticed. So yes, it's short for university. But yeah, he will be posted on there, hoping for a quick sale so I can get him home. He is newborn size. And then I also have a Caucasian baby, which is a cuddle baby that is fully rooted, and I don't have that baby with me in this room, but also pictures are available. Lots of pictures of that cuddle baby are available. Same place. It's reborns.com/Uni Reborn Dad, and I'll put that link also in the bio just for people to understand that you can just go to the link and you can click follow, and you'll be notified. Like I said, when I post dolls for sale, because I always get people asking, where do I post my dolls? It's typically there now because that page has a lot of traffic, and I'm usually able to sell straight through there. And it makes it easier to keep everything in one place because I can put the tracking on there. All the customer ordering information is on there as well. So I love that site. I don't plan to not use that site. So that's where most of my dolls are going to go, because with Facebook, people can delete their Facebook accounts or delete the messages, and then I don't remember who I sold a doll to sometimes. I gotta get better at like tracking that. But reborns.com makes it even easier to keep track of that. Anyway, so that's my little plug for the dolls that I have available. I have 3 now for sale. I would really like to get a sale, especially on this big guy, because he does take up room. And I finally sold that toddler. I don't know if you guys remember me griping about it. I had to lower the price because it just literally for months was sitting there. And so now if I won't be doing any more toddlers unless it's a custom order, because they take up way too much room in my apartment. And it's not worth the effort if they're just going to sit around and take up space and time. I will be having a new doll in my collection very soon. I'm hoping to have her this week, so I will also be posting video when I get her as well. And this is, I've had a custom doll by this person previously and love their work. So I'm so excited to show that doll with you guys. I've been waiting for this one. So yeah, and then anyway, into today's topic. So this had been a trend, I think, a few years back, and then now it's coming back again. For I really don't know why it's coming back again, but I wish it wouldn't. So I'm going to talk about two trends in this video that have like made a reoccurrence in the community. And so the first one, which I'm going to probably title this video, is about the filters. So we're talking about the filters that are being used are the face app filters typically. I cannot stand them for many reasons that I'm going to get into. And the first one is I think they just look kind of creepy in general because you get this really real looking face and then these fake looking, well, not, depending on the reborn, I guess, some of the limbs look a lot less realistic than the face, so you get this weird image that for me it makes me understand why people think these dolls are creepy, because it puts it very much even more so in that kind of uncanny valley situation where you have this hyper realistic face with these clearly not real limbs. And I don't like it for that reason. But that's just like kind of a personal opinion feeling. Now, the real reason that this is a problem, and especially for those who do not say that they're using a filter, is there's people who are, how do we say this nicely? There's newer people, or I guess not even newer people. There are people in this community who are impressionable or particularly naive when it comes to these dolls. Meaning, time and time again, I am struck by the realization that there are quite a bit of people in this reborn collecting community who cannot tell the difference between a doll and a real baby. It's really troubling, and it's really maybe they have vision issues, because for me, I can tell like right away unless it's extremely well done, and I can usually tell right away if something is a doll or a real baby. And I don't, like I said, it could be that some of these people have vision issues and that it makes it harder for them to be able to tell. But people who are using these face app feet, like these filters, are making it so much worse for these people to not be able to tell the difference. And so they get into this area where they are expecting a reborn doll to look as realistic as these filters are showing. And then if you don't say anything, they're definitely going to think that this is what these dolls look like, when that is just completely misrepresenting the reality of what these dolls are and can look like, because there's only so much amount of talent and artistry that can go into these dolls to make them realistic, because at the end of the day they are dolls. There is a limit to how realistic they can be, or how effectively fooling they can be, at least in my opinion, who has relatively decent vision when it comes to looking at these images. So it's coming back. Like I said, this was, I think, originally was a thing in like 2020, 2019. I think it was 2020 more probably, because that's when people were bored and they Face App made a big splash into the scene. People using filters to make their dolls have different expressions, and then again, people are fooled by that, thinking that these dolls can make different expressions, which clearly, if you know anything about them, only the silicones who have really expensive animatronics can make different expressions. These dolls are what they are. They have one expression and that's it. But people who are maybe a little more naive or don't know as much about these dolls are going to look at those images and assume that these dolls can do all these things. So if you're going to use these filters, which whatever, have fun with them, please say that you're using a filter so people know and aren't going to feel a certain way if they, because This is what I'm afraid of, and what it is leading to is pure confusion. Like, you should see some of these comments on these pictures that people post, especially on the Facebook groups where anyone can access and join these groups. Someone who are newer to reborns, whatever walk of life they are, they can just join these Facebook groups because a lot of them are public. And then they're seeing these edited photos and they think they represent reality. And you should see these comments. They're really kind of sad in a way because they're like, "Oh my god, what kit is this doll? This is the most realistic doll I have seen." Meanwhile, the people are using a whole ass filter on these pictures to make them look hyper realistic. So can we just please, if you're going to use the filters, say you're using a filter, be mindful of others. And I think that's the problem with a lot of what's going on in the community in general, as always, is everyone's here to have fun, right? But they don't realize that there are still greater implications of you having fun. There are still things that having fun can lead to that are real life consequences, like people getting scammed because they are getting there. People now, scammers are starting to use the photos from FaceApp to make a doll look more realistic. So there's real life implications and then just having fun when it comes to these dolls, because there's money involved in a lot of these cases with these dolls. And I don't mean just a little bit of money. As anyone who has bought one of these dolls know, they're hundreds of dollars you're losing. And that could be someone's, all of their like fun money for the year. You don't know these situations that people are in where they saved up for an entire year and then they get scammed for all that they saved up for. So please just be mindful of that when you're posting these images. And that's true of any like edited image. I feel like in general, like a photo of yourself, you hear this all the time where celebrities post highly edited pictures, just like, and then in those cases most people know that doesn't represent reality, but that's not quite the case yet when it comes to these dolls. So let's be mindful of others. And then the other trend that's coming back that I am in no means a fan of is sponge hair. And so people, I posted about this, and they were like, people who weren't familiar with it were like, "What are you talking about, sponge hair?" Because it doesn't sound like a thing, even though the name of it pretty much explains exactly what it is. It's a technique of making painted hair on reborns, and it's supposed to give a look and texture of African American, like tight coils, for example. It's supposed to look kind of like a curlier hair pattern rather than just painting the hair pattern. People use usually the same sponges that they use for mottling. So they're very. I wish I had grabbed the sponge, for example. But you know the texture of a sponge, like literally a scrubbing sponge that you use for dishes. People use those sponges, slap some paint on it, and then they create hair with that. And my problem with that is these people are often charging the same amount for people who take time and do really detailed hair paintings, or they're charging the same amount as people who root hair coils like myself. And I think it's such a cheap, quick fix for true artistry. To me, it is such a cop out, is the word I'm using for it, because it's a quick, like, I mean, you can slap some paint on that sponge and you've got like a layer of paint of hair on there. And then secondly, to me, it never looks realistic. It looks sponged on. Even I've seen an artist that I really love and I respect her work. Even with her, to me, it does not look that realistic. And it has nothing to do with her skill level. It's the technique itself, to me, does not give a good effect. It doesn't look 3D, which hair like mine is absolutely 3D. Even more so, it even more is important that it appears 3D when it's hair texture like mine, because with straight hair, a lot of times it's kind of flat to the head, and you can get away with painting straight hair, wavy hair. But I feel like when you're trying to replicate a textured hair, painting it with a sponge gives in no means that effect. And so now we've got this taking off as a trend because people are always looking for an easy way to create these dolls. And this is the newest way that's making a resurgence that I think is fundamentally going against what reborning is supposed to be as a skill. It's a skill. There's no quick ways. There shouldn't be quick ways to do this kind of work. It's art. It's a nice skill to develop, and like I said, for me, it's almost borderline offensive because a lot of these people are just slapping the sponge hair on a doll that's otherwise Caucasian, and they're calling it African American now. And I do understand. Obviously, I understand. Black people come in many variety of skin tones, but I mean, I'm literally talking about. I've seen people do it where they're listing the doll as Caucasian, doesn't sell. They take it down, they sponge some coils on it, and then they are reselling it now as African American. So for me, it's kind of borderline offensive in that way as well. If some people are doing that, which they are. So yeah, overall, I would caution people against doing this technique because yes, it seems easy and delightful, but it is not realistic, and I think it's just disappointing. Like I had a doll once upon a time from the doll show Rose in 2019 with this hair technique, and I liked it for all of a few, probably a month, and then I realized it's not realistic and it didn't give the appearance that I wanted, and that's how I knew firsthand. I was like, you could tell this doll isn't real with this type of hair. And so that's my caution. If you're collecting these dolls for the realism, I'm going to direct you guys not to do these types of techniques. Just as someone who's both an artist and a collector, it doesn't give the look that you think it does. And I've seen maybe one or two sponge hair dolls that actually turn out well. And like I said, it has nothing to do with the artists themselves and their skill level. It's literally the technique. So don't hate on people for it, but also reevaluate if that's something you want in your collection. Because, it takes all of 2 seconds to do a sponge hair doll. Anyway, that's my little rant, I guess, on that technique. I just cannot stand it. And yeah, like I said, I will see you guys hopefully maybe later on this week, fingers crossed, with my new doll in my collection. Right now, I literally just have Kier, and he is in the process. I'm finishing up rooting him today. Finally, I was going to send him off to a actual rooter, but I'm so attached to him that I didn't want his head to get lost because he's literally irreplaceable because his artist makes very, 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 very few dolls per year, and I don't think she would ever get around to, and she doesn't take customs, and so I don't think she would ever get around to being able to repaint his head if he got lost somewhere. I don't know if she would ever be able to replicate that in the first place. So I was like, I don't want to send him off to get rooted because what do I do now if I lose his whole entire head? So instead, I ponied up and decided to just go ahead and root him myself, which I was nervous about. But I think he's coming along well, so I can't wait to share his new look with everyone as well. Anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you guys whenever my new doll comes in. All right, bye, you guys.